You're listening to Live and Local Conversation on Talk Radio 600 WBOB. The lines are open. Dial 854-1320. Now let's return to Cindy Graves, politics, business, and mayhem.
Hi, I'm Cindy Graves. Welcome back to Politics, Business, and Mayhem. We'd love to take your calls. We're at 854-1320. I have two guests this segment. One is Ray Chornenky, who is the president of the National Federation of Republican Women, herself a retired judge and a very smart lady, appears on media and supports women's right to vote and what is going on with women in the voting process throughout the nation. And she's a fabulous leader. And we also have been discussing the military vote with Jerry Bass. He is the commander of the Allied Veterans. Ray, you might be interested that Commander Bass was telling me that he had some statistics for us about women voting in the military.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yes, Ray. Currently, there's 1.6 million female veterans in the country out of 21.8 million. And out of those 1.6 million females, 71% voted in the last presidential election.
My goodness.
Well,
that is impressive.
It is impressive, but there you go. I mean, these are patriotic people. So when you've been studying this, and I know you've done this wonderful poll that I call it a poll and y'all are calling it a survey. I should call it the survey that you did of Republican women. The purpose of this survey, I'm assuming, was to try to understand exactly what the issues were for Republican women and if we were best addressing those through our messaging. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct, yes.
And so tell us, because some people join us late and we're on people's lunch hours and we're so happy when they tune in to us. Give us a few facts about this survey, Ray.
We're not going to give official results until the Republican convention, but the demographics are available to us. And we found, as we had talked before, we were very amazed at the number of small business owners within this 8,500 group that took the survey. They are paying very close attention to the economy. We'll go into that further. The employment issue with women, 44% we found are employed outside the home, and as I had said earlier, 16% of those women hold a second job. There are quite a few retired women. Stay-at-home moms are at 11%, and there are 7% that are unemployed that took the survey.
Well, you know, that's amazing too. You know, when you think of it, this unemployment. I mean, you know, if the people who just took your survey, 8,500 women,
right,
and the national average is 8.3. I mean, you're pretty close there with 7% of the people being unemployed that took this.
Absolutely, and this all goes to the mythical Republican war on women that the Democrats have been spreading. It seems that their facts and figures are not being researched because earlier in the year, the Bureau of Labor Statistics came out and they announced that 92% of the jobs lost since President Obama took office were women's jobs.
Now, that bears repeating. Say it again.
Okay. First of all, the statistics are from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they announced that 92% of jobs lost since President Obama took office are women's jobs. And we can go on.
Well, we can go on because one of the statistics that I read with all this labor and the Labor Bureau recently is that 40 and then it was a 0.7, so it was almost 41% of single mothers in the richest country in America are living in poverty under this Obama administration. I find that appalling.
It's more than 40% of these single mothers, but when you realize that more than half of poor children live with these female-headed households, it spreads to them. And the child poverty rate has jumped up to 22%, which is just, again, in this nation, it's appalling. The extreme poverty rate and that's a little bit more serious than the poverty rate. The extreme poverty rate in this country for women is at the highest rate it's ever been as long as it's been recorded among women. The poverty rate itself is at the highest level for women in 17 years. So these last 4 years of President Obama's term have not done anything to assist these women or to improve these statistics. And it's just amazing that these things are going on.
Well, I wasn't surprised, really, at the end, there was a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking, of course, after the 2008 elections. Everyone was surprised. But, he was a charismatic person.
Absolutely.
The first African-American ever elected. I can understand how people were enamored of him. But I do not understand how anyone could remain enamored of him after the job that he's done. He's done nothing for African Americans, especially in the poverty rate. He's done nothing for women. All of what he talks about, to me, Ray, appear to be this Chicago-style politicking where you say anything and it really doesn't matter if it's true or not. If there's a war on women, it is he that is waging it, and also through the new Obamacare rules that will come in to hurt other women. Next week, we're going to talk to a lady who is a cancer survivor who's and she is not a Republican, and she doesn't like Obamacare because as a cancer survivor, her deductible has gone up to, guess what, $10,000. How can a woman? There's so many women that are survivors of breast cancer, and God bless them. How can anyone afford that?
Right. Well, when we talk about the White House having responsibility for these things, there were figures reported, and in the Obama White House itself, figures released for 2011, and those figures show that the median salary for female employees on the White House staff is 18% less than that of their male counterparts.
Woo.
So this strikes very close to home for the president, and yet he allows these things to go on.
Well, I don't see him as being, and even if I take my Republican hat off and just look at him, as just a regular guy, I don't see that he has a huge record among, uplifting women. He certainly appears to be very respectful and nice to his wife as she spends, our money like it's
Cindy,
80s.
I don't see where he has a huge record on anything productive.
No, he doesn't. But she has a record on spending on vacations. Did you see that? She went to Colorado and spent, I still can't get over it. I know I mentioned it every single week, but $87,000 for one weekend with her daughters. My goodness. I'm never going to be able to get over that if I get Alzheimer's and turn 120.
You're going to keep saying that.
I am.
Let's just extend this a little bit farther and focus for a second on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They have come out and with their figures and shown that the unemployment rate has been over 8%. We know that, but it's been 42 straight months. And it's reported that that's a streak unparalleled in American history, and there is no post-World War II president who has ever been reelected with unemployment over 7.2%.
Well, your mouth to God's ears, and I know the American public are paying attention because we have even higher unemployment than that here in Florida. But and our governor is doing all he can. But it's 91 days to the election, Ray, and I also wanted to point out that he has had 125 fundraisers since the last time his job council met. Doesn't that also shock you?
Totally.
Well, you have to try to be as bad as Obama is, I think. But women are going to come in. We're going to save the day. You and I are going to work tirelessly, and you are going to spur all of these women on across America. Thank you, Ray Chornenky, for the great job you do at the National Federation of Republican Women.
Thank you.
And we sure appreciate you being on. And thank you, Jerry Bass, for the great job you do for veterans and women veterans. Tell us again how many women's veterans there are in America.
1.6 million.
Thank you, and Jerry represents all of them. We certainly do appreciate you being here with us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow, and we'll talk.
For more great interviews like this, make sure to tune into The Cindy Graves Show every weekday at noon on Talk Radio 600 WBOB.